We need to talk about how the US might take over Gaza, force out the entire population, and cash in on what the world's leading association of genocide scholars is officially labeling a genocide. Or because there's this detailed proposal called the Gaza Reconstitution Economic Acceleration and Transformation Trust, or Great Trust. And it basically aims to turn Gaza into a massive investment opportunity. With the first step being what the proposal described as the voluntary relocation of Gaza's 2 million inhabitants. And according to this leaked 38-page document, they would either be sent to another country or housed in what it called restricted secured zones inside the territory, with each Palestinian who chooses to leave getting $5,000 cash and subsidies to cover 4 years of rent somewhere else, as well as 1 year of food. With the plan estimating that every individual departure from Gaza would save the trust $23,000 compared to the cost of temporary housing and what it calls life support services in the secure zones for those who stay. But really, whatever the case may be there, however good they try and make it sound, you have experts saying it's not voluntary if people are left with no other options. Because we're talking about this so-called Great Trust, as 90% of Gaza's population has been displaced at least once. And then with also 90% of housing in the territory destroyed, there's nowhere for them to go back to. And even that is only if they survive the continued Israeli onslaught that's already killed over 60,000 people, devastated the country's health system, and created the conditions for mass hunger and famine. Now with all that, while we know that this plan has been going around the White House and that it's in line with what Trump has said in the past, it is not clear yet if any official decision has been made, though it is clear that the plan has been specifically designed to realize Trump's vision of turning Gaza into what he called the Riviera of the Middle East. In fact, it appears to play to, or at the very least appeal to, Trump's vanity. But according to the leak, Gaza's western waterfront would literally be renamed the Gaza-Trump Riviera and Islands, what it called a string of world-class resorts along the coastline and on small artificial islands. There would then also be the Elon Musk smart manufacturing zone in the eastern part of the country, and that would be developed on the ruins of an industrial zone previously built with Israeli investment to exploit cheap labor in Gaza. That is, of course, until it was closed and destroyed by Israeli forces. There would then also be a highway and tram named after the leaders of Saudi Arabia and the UAE, which have both backed an alternative proposal aimed at eventual Palestinian statehood. And in the center of this enclave, in between the waterfront resorts and the industrial zone, there would be up to 20-story apartment buildings constructed in 6 to 8 what are called dynamic, modern, and AI-powered smart plan cities, with Gazans who own land being offered a digital token when they leave in exchange for rights to redevelop their property. And this token, it says, would be used to finance a new life somewhere else, or eventually be redeemed for an ownership of a new 1,800 square foot apartment that the plan values at $200,000 each. And all of this is, the proposal at least says that it would not cost the US government a dime. And then from there, it would mostly be financed by public and private sector investment in these so-called mega projects, which again, according to the proposal, would deliver a nearly fourfold return on a $100 billion investment after 10 years. And then as far as the people behind this, notably, they're some of the same Israelis who created and set in motion the US and Israeli-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, or which is the group that took over most aid distribution in Gaza back in May. Except you have many experts saying it really hasn't done all that much aid distributing at all, with many highlighting how instead hundreds of Palestinians have been killed near GHF-run sites trying to access aid.